Have you ever had a moment where life cracked you open? Not a meltdown, not a breakdown, but a moment where the truth, the real truth, slips out from under the rug where you tried to hide it, and suddenly nothing looks the same again. For me, it happened in the grocery store. I was standing in an aisle staring at 80 different brands of pasta sauce, each promising authenticity, delight, and a better life in 24 ounces. And there I stood, overwhelmed, paralyzed, holding a basket like a shield. The world saw a woman contemplating marinara, but inside I was shattering. I wasn't struggling with pasta sauce. I was struggling with me. It was one of those silent collapses, no tears, no dramatic slump to the floor. Just a quiet, internal sinking, the kind we rarely speak about. Maybe you know that feeling, where you suddenly ask yourself, what am I doing? Who am I really? And what if everything I've convinced myself of up until now? Isn't the truth that moment sent me down a road not of self-improvement, not of instant enlightenment, but of truths, raw ones, uncomfortable ones, the kind that reorder the furniture inside your heart. Today, I want to share some of those truths with you, not because I've mastered them, but because I'm still learning to live them, and maybe they'll change how you see life forever. Truth hash 1. You are allowed to be a masterpiece and a mess at the same time. We grew up believing success has a look. Confidence has a look, worth has a look, and that look always seems so polished. But here's what I've learned staring at pasta sauce, trying to remember why breathing felt hard. We don't need to be fully healed to fully live. You can be brave and terrified. You can be grateful and grieving. You can love your life and still feel lost in it. We are layered beings, contradictions wrapped in skin. Yet we keep trying to flatten ourselves into a single storyline. I'm fine. It's nothing. Just a bit tired. We hide the parts we think will scare others away. But those are the parts that make us real. Those are the parts that connect us, because truth doesn't push people away. Performing does, and no one, absolutely no one, has ever felt deeply connected to a performance. Truth hash 2. Courage isn't loud, it's choosing to show up when you don't feel ready. We imagine courage looks like someone standing on a mountaintop, fist pumped high, cape blowing heroically in the wind. But courage for most of us looks like showing up to the job you're terrified you're failing at, texting someone first even though you fear silence, saying, I need help, instead of it's all good, going to therapy instead of pretending you don't need it. It's choosing vulnerability over avoidance. Courage is the volume knob turned down low, barely above a whisper, but it still counts. I once attended a workshop where we were asked to share one truth we'd never spoken aloud. My heart hammered like it wanted out of my chest. My throat tightened with words begging to stay inside. But then a quiet voice inside said, this is your moment. Show up for yourself. I told a room of strangers that I was scared that my life didn't matter, that if I disappeared, the world would adjust without struggle. I expected judgment, pity, shock. Instead, that room breathed with me. Someone across the circle whispered, me too. Connection happens when we show our cracks, not our perfection. Truth hash 3. The story you've been telling yourself isn't the only story. There's a storyteller in your mind. And while they are dramatic, mine loves to narrate failure. You're falling behind. Everyone else has it figured out except you. You're too much. You're not enough. But I realize something. That voice isn't trying to destroy me. It's trying to protect me. It's scanning for danger, heartbreak, rejection. It just has a terrible strategy. It tells us to shrink so we'll never be unlovable. But shrinking is the loneliest place a person can live. Here's the transformative truth. You can rewrite the script. When your brain says, I always mess things up, try responding, right now, I'm learning. When your brain says, I'm not lovable, try, I'm human, and humans are wired for connection. When your brain says, it's too late, try, it's my turn. You are not the narrator, you are the author. And authors change stories every day. Truth hash 4. Loving yourself is not vanity, it's survival. We often treat self. Love like a luxury, a spa day, a bubble bath, a weekend getaway. But real self, love isn't glamorous. It's gritty. It looks like setting boundaries that disappoint others, giving yourself rest before you earn it, choosing people who choose you, speaking to yourself like someone worth rooting for self. Love isn't relief, it's responsibility. Because when you love yourself, you hold yourself accountable to heal, to grow, to stop abandoning the person in the mirror. Let me tell you a small story. I once looked at myself and realized I knew more about my friends' dreams than my own. I was cheering for everyone else at the finish line of their lives while mine hadn't even begun the race. So I asked myself a terrifying question. What if I became someone I fought for instead of someone I tolerated? Everything changed, not overnight, not all at once, but slowly, one brave choice at a time. The life shift, when truth becomes freedom, when you begin living these truths, something magnificent happens. You stop trying to be who the world approves of. You start becoming who your soul remembers. You stop chasing perfection. You start embracing presence. You stop performing worthiness. You start believing you already have it. Life stops being a competition. It becomes a connection, and suddenly, you breathe easier, you love harder, you laugh louder, you trust deeper. Not because life gets easier, but because you finally allow yourself to take up space in your own story. We often think transformation comes in grand gestures, the lie, faltering trip, the career leap, the lightning strike of clarity. But the truth, transformation is quiet. It happens in moments that look ordinary from the outside, the whispered no. When every part of you wants to please, the decision to show up despite the fear that you don't belong, the morning you get out of bed, even though the weight on your chest says stay still, the night you let yourself cry instead of forcing yourself to be strong. Healing rarely looks heroic. But it is. Every time you choose honesty over hiding, you evolve. Every time you choose rest over depletion, you reclaim yourself. Every time you choose to believe you matter, you crack the door open to joy. Not the glittery, Instagrammable kind, but the grounded, soul-stretching joy that says, I am still here, and that is enough. The uncomfortable middle. No one talks enough about the middle. We celebrate the breakthrough. We celebrate the outcome. But the middle, the messy, uncertain, wobbly middle, is where we spend most of our lives. It's where we let go of who we were before we fully understand who we are becoming. It's the space between the caterpillar and the butterfly, a phase biologically known as liquid goo. Isn't that comforting? At some point in transformation, we all become goo. We lose shape. We lose certainty. We lose identities we once clung to, and in that dismantling, fear whispers, this is wrong, you should have it figured out by now. But another voice, much softer, much braver, whispers back, this is what becoming looks like. You were never meant to do this alone. Connection is the miracle we underestimate. We are wired to belong not by proving our value, but by being seen in our truth. The problem is, many of us carry a belief that says, if people knew the real me, they'd leave, so we armor up. We wear the version of ourselves least likely to be rejected. We try to earn love instead of receiving it, but love that must be earned is never love, it's performance. True connection isn't built when we impress people. It's built when we trust them with our imperfections. Someone out there needs to hear your story, not the highlight reel, but the human one, the one where you're still figuring it out, the one where you break and repair, the one where you refuse to stop trying. The truth about fear isn't a villain. It's a bodyguard with bad communication skills. It tries to keep us safe by keeping us small. Don't take the risk. Don't say what you want. Don't hope for too much. Disappointment hurts. But here's the most life-changing thing I've learned. Fear and faith travel the same road. One just looks forward, the other looks down. You don't have to wait for fear to disappear. You just have to decide which direction you're going to look. Forward, even 1 inch at a time, still counts. There will be days. There will be days when you forget every truth you've learned. Days where doubt feels louder than hope. Days where you feel like you're sliding backward. When that happens, remember this. Healing is not a straight line. Growth is not a tidy process. Progress is not always visible. But every breath you take in the middle of the storm is proof you are still choosing life. And that choice matters more than you know. A promise to yourself, put your hand on your heart, yes, really. Feel that steady rhythm. Feel that quiet strength. You are carrying generations of survival in that heartbeat. And you are allowed to rest without guilt, to begin again without shame, to take up space without apology. Promise yourself this: I will not abandon the person I am becoming, because you deserve someone who stays, and that someone must first be you. The next brave step, you don't need to see the whole path. You don't need certainty. You don't need permission. You only need the courage to take the next step that honors your truth. Maybe that step is a conversation. Maybe it's a boundary. Maybe it's a choice that terrifies and liberates you at the same time. Whatever it is, trust it. Trust the version of you who survived every moment you thought would break you. Trust the version of you who is still searching. Trust the version of you who refuses to give up. Your evolution is already in motion. Your becoming is already in progress. Your story is already shifting into the one you were always meant to tell. And this moment right here is just another beginning. So here we are, you and I, standing at the edge of a new truth, not the kind that demands perfection, not the kind that insists you rush into transformation with fireworks and fanfare, but the quiet truth that whispers, you are worthy of the life you're longing for. You have spent so much time trying to deserve your place in the world. But what if just for today you allowed yourself to belong without earning it? Your heart has been learning, breaking, healing, and rising long before you ever noticed. Every stumble, every scar, every brave moment where you showed up despite trembling, all of it brought you here. And here is enough, because the truths that change us aren't found in grand moments of clarity. They're found in the ordinary courage of living honestly, breath by breath, choice by choice. You are allowed to keep growing. You are allowed to reinvent yourself. You are allowed to start again as many times as needed. There is no finish line for becoming. There is only the next brave step. So take a breath. Place your hand on your heart once more. Feel that steady, resilient beat. That is the sound of a life that refuses to give up. Walk forward knowing this. Your story is not something to survive, it is something to celebrate. And the world needs every single chapter still inside you.